Hey everybody, Troy, Roadside RC. We are here today with our Sakura D5S rear-wheel drive RC drift car. We are going to finally be fitting our ReveD RS-ST servo. We have the little programmer also to go with it so we can set that up. You know, we've done a video before, and I can provide a link up here to it, of us fitting non-low profile servos into this car. And this is low profile, but it's not all the way low profile. It's actually like 30 millimeters tall, which is just like 2 millimeters too tall to fit into this chassis as it's supposed to be designed, or as it's supposed to be assembled. What we're going to do today is we're going to do a couple little tricks. We're going to get this servo in, and we're going to start messing with how do you program it and what do you do like that. The issue with this chassis and a servo is actually where this comes up, it hits in underneath here. So we can have two choices. We need to make this spacer just slightly taller, put a couple shims underneath it to raise this up. And the screws underneath here that mount this are a button head like this is, which makes an interference. If we can countersunk this plastic piece, then we can also actually put a countersunk screw in there and save us a couple more millimeters. That'll make the servo fit. Let's get this other servo out. What we've been able to use is, this is a simple countersunk bit. It's just in a kit that I had laying around the house. What that allows us to do is go from, I don't know if the GoPro will be able to focus in on it or not, but it allows us to go from a button head like this to a full countersunk in. Can still do it just a little bit more, gain a little bit more clearance, but it gains us a few millimeters there. And just like that, we are installed. Check that out. ReveD servo officially in there. So countersunk those top two screws up here. Both of these were countersunk in to clear that gap. And then I just happened to have some fancy little red spacers that were the exact right length to space that plate right off that servo. So in total, between those two things, we gained 2 millimeters basically of clearance, 2 to 3 millimeters of clearance, and that is just enough to get that ReveD servo in there. So just like that, plugged in. Oh, look at that. Yes, I have on my gyro, I have the slow return set up with settings, so you can see it come back. But that servo, you can't hear it because I'm yapping, but that servo is silent, just utterly silent. So this is in its stock setting. Per the instructions, it comes with a preset slower speed, helps eliminate the shake, you know, and then you're gonna have to use the program card in order to do more to it. But what we're gonna do, set this thing down just as it is, out of the box, no programming whatsoever, because maybe some of you guys will actually buy it without the program card. Let's drift around a little bit with it and see what it feels like out of the box. Okay, look at that. So it still drifts, it still does all of the things, so that is good news. Feels pretty good right out of the box. What we're gonna do right now is we're gonna now get this figured out, see what kind of software we need to download, get this hooked up to the computer, and start playing around with some of the settings and just notice, can we tell much of a difference if you do the programmer and use some different settings in it. All right, look at us. We officially servo connected into the programmer, into the laptop, and you can download their software right here. I don't know if you can really truly see it. It recognizes the model of the RS-ST. It has a speed setting, a boost, a curve, a direction, deadband, and torque. All things that you can change through the program, feed right back into the servo, and then try it. The instructions come with what each one of the settings mean. We're going to mess with a few of these and see what it feels like. Can we tell a difference? The first thing we're going to do is adjust the speed of the servo. So it comes from the factory at a 70. We're going to bump it all the way over to a 340, make a huge jump, see what difference it makes. Okay, so changing the speed from 70 to 340, drastic increase in speed. I could really feel a difference in how quickly the servo would respond. I'll be honest, at 70, it really did feel slow, and maybe that's because I'm used to that Savox servo that I had in there before, which is a very, very fast reacting servo. So bumping the speed up on this really helped a lot. Really like that direction. You could really feel the difference, especially entering into a corner when you flick it and then it goes to catch and everything. You could just feel the car felt snappier, the car felt more responsive. So that was a good one. We've taken the boost. It was all the way up at an 80, which I feel when I read the instructions that a boost is kind of like exponential almost for your servo. And so we've actually lowered it all the way to the other end of the scale now at a 20. Let's see what it feels like. So boost, I didn't feel it much. Sorry, I don't really know what it did there. Car felt basically the same, so we're gonna put it back and we're gonna jump onto torque and see what torque does. Right, in the instructions, torque is all about controllability on kind of low angles versus deep angles. And how does that work? So a higher torque is better for the strong angles and a lower torque is better for the easy. They set you up dead in the middle at a 14. It goes from 1 to 30. And then the settings are all 16 to 12 to 13. So I'm guessing they're not really even recommending that you get plus or minus this, even though it has values outside of that. But what the heck, we're gonna try it. So I'm gonna crank this bad boy up to somewhere near 30 and let's see what happens. Okay, so they described that one pretty good, actually. I like that one. So the high torque on a very tight corner, like I was showing you here, turned, held very steady, and then when you got out into the big sweeper, you felt maybe it was trying to shimmy or shake just a little bit, trying to wander, if you will. Low torque was the utter opposite. So I then dragged it all the way to setting all the way down to 3. So remember, we started at 14, I went up to 29 for high torque, I went down to 3, way outside of the parameters that they recommend. And at 3, it was the exact opposite. So in the tight corners, it felt numb. It felt like the steering was kind of wanting to wander. It wasn't a shake, but it was a, it was like it just wasn't, it wasn't as precise. But then you get up into the big sweeping corner and it's just locked on. The car feels a little bit faster, like everything felt smoother in that big corner. So this is pretty cool. I think this is a good one. I could actually see me wanting, depending on the track that I was going to, maybe actually tweak that torque value. So that's pretty cool. Two more settings that we can mess with. One is deadband. It's kind of just the neutral width in the middle of the steering range. Honestly, I don't know if there's a lot of value in that one. It seems pretty simple. The value is set right in the middle of the range. Maybe if you felt an issue, you can change it, but not too concerned about it. Then the last one is curve, which is 1 to 150, set at 100. So this is again, maybe kind of, I don't know, they're all related to, it seems like, speed of the servo and holding of the servo. So it says a higher number reacts quickly to the steering. Awesome. All right, so let's take it from this 100, since it's kind of more on the upper end of the scale. Let's drag it way down to the bottom and see if we can feel a difference. That curve right here in the kind of the tighter section of the garage, and maybe there's something to it there. I mean, I drove that value all the way down from 100 to 20, and I could feel maybe a little bit in the transition, which is exactly what it's talking about. Maybe not, I don't know. Again, that one's kind of close. All right, all said and done, end of the day, this is pretty cool. I've never had a programmable servo like this, so being able to play with it and see what it does is pretty nice. The only things that I'm really going to keep changed after this initial test session: increase in speed, definitely bumping the speed up. I bumped the torque up just a little bit to the higher of what their settings are, but the boost, the curve, the deadband, all of that other kind of stuff, I just left it alone. I could tell, sometimes I could tell a little bit of a difference in it, sometimes I couldn't. So at this point, I think I'm just happy, and I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm going to drive it. I have Mr. Frank, who's our local drift expert, ReveD specialist. I'm going to get in touch with him and see if he has any other tips and tricks. So keep an eye on our Facebook, our Instagram, and all that. Maybe we'll be sharing some more tips and tricks with you there. Hey, in the meantime, I'm going to go start working on this video, working on some other videos, trying to get some more drift content out for you guys. It's been a little bit of a struggle here recently, but while we're working on all that kind of stuff, come on over here, check out some of our other videos, whether it's bashing or crawling or racing or drifting, whatever it may be. Check out some of those, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, anything, please leave them down below. Talk to you next time. Goodbye.